Hi, my name's Kristen and I'm an IELTS teacher at Viva College in Brisbane. This is the first in our series called Spotlight on IELTS, and today we're talking about the IELTS writing test. So I'm just going to give you a brief summary about the general rules for the test. The test takes 1 hour and there are 2 sections. So in case you didn't know, the IELTS test actually comes in 2 formats. The first is the general test and the second is the academic test. Depending on the purpose of your test taking, that will determine which test you need to choose. So if you're taking the general test, the first part will be a letter. It might be informal or it may be formal. And the second part is an essay. If you're taking the academic test, the first part requires you to do some data analysis, and the second part is also an essay. So there are a couple of rules or tips that I'd like to give you today just to make sure that you know exactly what you need to do to get the best score you can on this test. So the first is that you need to meet the word limit. So for the first task in both the general and the academic test, you must write 150 words. In the second part of the test, for both the general and the academic, you have to write 250 words. If you write less than those word limits, you will actually lose marks. So it's really important that you practice writing the correct amount of words. Interestingly, if you write more than the word limit, you won't lose marks. So don't be afraid to write too much, but definitely make sure you don't write less. Because the test is an hour, we recommend that you spend 20 minutes on task 1 and 40 minutes on task 2. The other important thing to know is that task 2 is actually worth twice the marks as task 1. So it is quite important that you leave enough time to write task 2 effectively. The second tip is don't copy words from the question. If you do this, the examiner will see and they will actually cross out what you have written. So it's very important that you practice using your own words or paraphrasing. And this is something that you will get better at with time. The third tip is to plan your answer. As an IELTS teacher, it's very common for me to see students writing answers without thinking before they start. And it's obvious because their answers have no coherence and they don't flow naturally. It's just random thoughts on a piece of paper. So my recommendation is, in task 1, if you have 20 minutes, you should spend a minimum of 5 minutes thinking about your answer, thinking about the words, the topic vocabulary you're going to use, and planning the order of the information. For task 2, you absolutely need to spend at least 10 minutes brainstorming your ideas, putting them into a nice structure, and then your writing will be easy. And the final tip is to write neatly. You actually lose marks in your IELTS test if your writing is illegible, which means that the examiner can't read what you've written. So you do need to make sure that your writing is readable and that it's neat. If you do decide to write all in capital letters, that's actually acceptable. But it is important to make sure that you use the correct punctuation, full stops and commas as well. So just to summarize, the test is 1 hour long. There are 2 sections. In the general test, you write a letter and an essay. In the academic test, you do data analysis and an essay. And you must make sure you stick to the word limit and the time limit, use your own words, plan your answer, and write neatly. So that's all for today. We'd really love you to give us your feedback and your comments. So if you have any ideas, anything that you want us to talk about, any questions that you want to ask, please make sure that you leave those comments in the comments section at the bottom of this video. My name's Kristen. I'm an IELTS teacher at Viva College and I look forward to seeing you for our next segment on Spotlight on IELTS. Have a good day.